Hey everybody, happy Monday. Hopefully everybody's ready to seize the week. I've been taking some R&R and just doing some reflection and some mindless tasks because I know that life's about to get pretty crazy for me. So anyway, I started thinking about how our lives are just so much on autopilot and how just people just go about their days, on autopilot, reacting and engaging in the same ways. And I know I'm guilty of that, and that's definitely something I want to work on as well. So I looked up the statistics, and 95% of our actions and behaviors are carried out through our unconscious mind, right? And so when you think about that, that's pretty wild statistic. That means 95% out of 100. I mean, that means basically just about everything that we do is carried out through our unconscious mind. Most recently with neuroscience and different brain imaging and testing and advanced technology, we've been able to, gather a lot of knowledge around the brain, which is really fascinating to me. So I thought today we would talk about the mind. So our subconscious and unconscious mind is where we store memories. This area in our mind knows how to automatically respond to our situations and to people, right? So based on past experiences and things that we have gone through, that information then is taken and stored in our unconscious or subconscious mind because obviously, it's not super important because it's not dealing with the reality of our situation at hand. So, we don't need that right in that moment in time, right? So our mind stores it down in that deeper parts of our mind. If we think about our conscious mind, our conscious mind is able to decode our reality and our situation that we are subjectively experiencing. So our conscious mind is what is present and right there and how we are actually going to decode our situation, our environment based through our senses, right? So we have our conscious mind, which, we are aware of and awareness and being present. And then we have our subconscious mind where our minds will store information down a little bit further, and it's ready to pull up and out of our brains to use at a further time. And this is where this subconscious mind, you can be aware of some different things and you'll notice different things and patterns in your own life and your behaviors. And that's like you have that slight awareness, but it's not fully present. That's your subconscious mind. Then we have, our unconscious mind, which then is even deeper. And that is the part of our brain that is basically repressed, and anybody with trauma histories or a lot of pain and suffering, tend to bury that down in this unconscious part of our brain that is at the very deepest. That is because, this is our mind's natural defense mechanism against, this pain and trauma and hard things that are hard to be able to deal with and cope with, right? However, it's so important that we are able to recognize this and be able to bring what is unconscious up to our conscious, because with it directing 95% of our behaviors, which, by the way, this part of our brain is also where we store the most painful experiences in our life, right? So if 95% of our actions are carried out in this part of our brain, don't you think it's a really important fact that we're able to bring all this knowledge and awareness to the present, and so that we are able to recognize it and deal with it and maybe react in certain ways, So this goes all the way back to the self-awareness, being on autopilot. I know sometimes I get depressed and then I act in the same old ways, but I also, I'm starting to gain that awareness where it's like, you want to get ahead of that game. So you're going to cut it off at the bypass, sort of. And it's really, really difficult because, again, most of our behaviors and our instinctual ways of engaging with the world around us that are unconscious, for those with a lot of pain and suffering in their lives, can be very difficult, and maladaptive, obviously. This makes me think of a counselor I heard once on Dr. Phil, and he talked about, it's like, imagine, you go through pain and painful experiences as a child, and you bury all that pain down into the cellar of your, down into your basement. And then more pain comes, and you put that pain on top of it, and you put it down in the basement, and then you move it down to the cellar, and you put it down there in the cellar, and you keep packing this pain and pain and pain and pain on top of more pain in the cellar. Eventually that pain is going to burst out of that cellar, and it's going to react in, not good ways. That's where people can be very impulsive and engage in very harmful crimes, or shameful things and different things, because again, those thoughts eventually they got to come up and out of you some way and somehow, right? So just, take note, and everybody try to, just be aware of that. I always think that like taking a space, which I'm trying to get better at, and I've been actually practicing meditation every day, and I tell you, I could feel the biggest difference. So, practice those meditations. It is helpful, and sometimes it's like a battle between my conscious mind, my unconscious mind. Like, I know it's going to help, and I know it's just, 10 or 15 minutes a day, but it really, really does help. And I think that allows for that space in between instinctual, impulsive reactions that are based on, again, that 95% that's unconscious, and then bringing them up to, again, what is conscious, and giving that space to reflect on that. So, I always say, it's always good to journal, reflect on your days, reflect on your methods of thinking, and also pay attention to triggers. A good way to do that is to pay attention to the physiological changes in your body. So maybe you feel, your heart start racing, or you start sweating, or, you start clenching your fists, or you start getting headaches. All these are stress responses based on hormones that your body is producing naturally. So if you're having these physiological changes in your body, and you're not having in reality, an outward trigger that would match those physiological changes, that's probably a good idea of some area that you may want to explore further. So anyway, I hope this helped a few people, and as always, I wish everybody all the love and many blessings. And just remember, we're all in this together. We have good days, we have bad days, and together we can be united and really help lift each other up. So I'm always here. If anybody needs somebody to talk to, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm always glad to meet new people, make new friends, and and be able to relate to you. So God bless.